Well, what's going on, everybody?
Hey,
hello,
everybody.
Hello.
Welcome.
So what we got going on here? We got what's going on? Standing Stones. Tammy Johnson says, well, let the show begin. So hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to another edition. We got Open the Door with Barb Hartman and myself. Rebecca, Crazy Witch. Yeah, Stingray slided in there. What's going on? And we got Sherry Johnson.
Hey,
hello.
Sherry.
We got everybody sliding in
Catherine's here.
Yeah.
Liana.
So we got a whole bunch of good things going to happen today, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, we are going to get it off. So what we got going on today?
Today we have Robin McCrae and Jen Appleton. Now, you and I have had Jennifer on twice, and they're both have had lifetime encounters with cryptids, paranormal, aliens. If you haven't watched the shows, definitely watch Jen's show, her shows. Now you and Val had Robin on an episode.
Yeah, we sure
and
did.
that was great too. Yeah, we want to have Robin on, Grizzly and I, to give us her story. So we're going to schedule that for the future. But hi, Russ. So today, what they're going to be doing though is they are both very talented. I don't know exactly. We'll ask them how they feel that they, what type of power that they have, like whether they're mediums. I'm not sure. We'll ask them. But they can really basically hear or read a person's situation, and they can give you some great insight on it. And I know that I can attest to, because this happened with Robin. I was listening to her on a show, and I asked her a question. She had no idea about. I basically said, "Do you know if I have any? Are there any Bigfoot around me?" And she told me. I mean, it was like spot on. Yes, there's 2 clans. One lives a few miles away, but you also have one living on your property. Da 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 da. I'm like, oh my gosh, she knew nothing about me. So that was pretty amazing. Hey, Catherine. So let's bring them on. Grizzly, how are you?
Yeah, let's bring them on there. Hello.
Hey, ladies.
Welcome, Jen and Robin. Welcome to the show. How are y'all doing?
Oh,
Glad
Jen doesn't have
you.
audio. Okay, you lost your audio? Okay.
She's got no audio.
Oh, crap.
Well,
okay.
she did for the show. What happened?
Yeah. Oh, no.
She was there.
You want to what do you think she should do?
Well, I'll
go
tell you
out
what
and
I'm
come
gonna
back
do.
in.
Go out and come back
we're
in?
just gonna go kabam, and she'll be right back. There we go.
Don't leave
That's
me
called
alone,
called as Grizzly's magic. Yeah. So welcome, Robin, to the show.
Something. Can I say one thing before, and then I'll be nice?
Say anything.
That is the best intro to a show I have ever seen in my life. Oh
really?
My God.
Oh, you gotta come on my shows more often.
I'm telling you, I was watching it and I'm like, oh my God, there was like so much in it, like the content to like lead you. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, I know about that. I know. But it was just like really cool. And then it got to the UFO one, and I'm like, I just did a trip to Florida, and I was coming back, and there was a UFO outside the plane. And there was a gentleman sitting next to me, and everybody just assumed like it was a star, except they never grasped the fact that all the stars were like way up in the air. We were not. And it was like it was a big white orb, but it was like parallel with the plane. And then at times it would bypass us, and it would slow back and go back on parallel. And it was a night flight because our flight was delayed. So it was really easy to see. And the guy was like, are you back, Jen?
Back now.
Awesome.
There we go.
This guy that I was sitting next to, this guy I was sitting next to, he had no idea, and he happened to glance out the window. He wanted to sit by the window, and I'm like, you can, I don't care where I sit. And so I gave him my seat so he couldn't. He kept watching it, and then he'd look back, and he'd watch again, he'd look back, and he's like, I know this sounds really crazy, and you probably won't believe me, but that kind of reminds me of a UFO. I said, it's not crazy to me. Like, it might be to other people, but no. So I pulled up my phone, and I said, yeah, look, it kind of looks like this one. And I'm showing him UFO pictures, and he's like almost passing out. And he was really, really nice guy. And he's like, then he goes into panic mode. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be okay. It's not coming for you. I mean, I can smile and speak with the ETs anyway. I'm like, it's not even worried about you. Well, do they know it's there? And I'm like, they probably do. They're not going to tell you. Okay. The plane is, nobody's going to tell you from the plane. It's going to be fine. Just sit and talk. I don't care what you talk.
Wow. Oh.
She done got zapped.
I got her next. Who's next?
Yeah.
Called interference.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, let's see. Well, that was a great story. That Robin, that really
poor guy. He's probably like,
yeah.
Somebody give me a drink. But some of the best UFO footage has come off of people on planes.
Yes.
There was one that was on the internet. I looked at it closely. I'm like, I've seen that before. And it was taking over Japan, one of the islands of Japan. And I mean, it was huge. It was like the size
Godzilla?
of well, it wasn't quite Godzilla, but it was a huge craft. And
UFO.
It could have been man-made.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've gotten some good ones off of passengers.
Yeah, they sure have. Well, wait, is she, I guess, oh no, Robin, oh no.
Yeah, she got zapped.
Well, let's see. A couple more people came in. I apologize if we didn't say hello already.
Standing Stones,
Debbie.
welcome.
Oh yeah, hey, Standing Stones.
Liana, welcome to the show. Liana, Tammy Johnson, there she comes.
Yeah.
Welcome
This is
back
so
there,
crazy.
Robin.
Here we go again, right, Robin?
Right, Tammy, that's a good one, baby.
Trying to get.
Me no grumpy. My name is Sky. Yes, that was a good story. David still talks about it to this day.
Did she freeze up again? No, there she is.
Okay, Robin?
I'm not frozen. I'm trying. There you go. I'm trying to get my headset to work. I don't know why it's doing it.
Okay.
Oh, I do. You do too.
I know, but I'm trying to get it to go into my headset so I can hear better, and it doesn't want to do that for me.
Well, today we're going to talk about cute puppies and kitties. Okay, so
There you go.
nothing to listen, nothing to hear here, people.
Let me see if I can get this goofy thing. Like, I can barely hear you guys because it does not want to let me.
Wow.
Okay, hang on. I'm working my way to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I've got no sound. Now I'm the one without the sound. Something's playing games because.
Yeah. Can you hear us at all?
There we go. Now I can.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I
good.
had my headset on because I have a lot of dogs. And I try as much as I can to be responsible and not make everybody have to deal with the craziness that I deal with them and the noise. So I put my headset on to kind of filter that out for you. And then as soon as I got on, it was bumping my headset on and off.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Before let's see. Rebecca really wants to know, but you know what? We'll get to that in a second, Rebecca. I want if you two ladies could just take turns, just briefly introduce.
I can't hear you at all. Like all I can hear is really low volume.
Oh no.
Like I don't know what doesn't want us to be able to talk.
Okay.
But it really sucks because it's like I can't get to anything. Like you're almost like you're muffled.
Wow, and I can hear. Can everybody else hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Everything's
Okay.
fine on our end.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
I've got
meter
no
levels
volume,
and-
no nothing.
And Robin, we can hear you perfectly. I don't know if she
Yeah.
can hear me, but we can hear you perfectly. Yeah.
Okay, as long as you can. Like I said, I can barely hear you. I'm going to go out and come back in.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Here,
Jen,
let me try this again. If I can.
If you want to just briefly introduce yourself and.
Well, as everyone here probably knows, I am a retired granny who has had a lifelong experience with Sasquatch. Recently, the past few years, realized that the dogman actually existed and wolf-like beings. I've been a contactee and an abductee all of my entire life. You name it, I've probably experienced it, and not all of it very good. And that's basically me in a nutshell.
What do you think? What would you describe yourself as being? You really do have the ability to look at a picture or hear somebody's situation. What do you think that comes from?
Comes from probably, I've always been different in that way and able to see energy, even if it's just in a photograph or around another person. I was born with it. I'm an extreme sensitive. I'm an empath. And the near-death experience I had when I was 20, when I died in that car crash, it just amplified the abilities I'd already been born with. I think the first time I saw a ghost, I was 4 or 5 years old. My grandmother had lost her dog. We were very attached to when I was at that age. And every day when I get off the school bus, it was kindergarten, so I was about 5. I would go in, eat a little snack, and Granny tell me to lay down, take a nap, and Buster would always lay down right beside me. It was a daily thing every day. Our houses were only 3 miles apart. And 2 weeks after he died, I opened my eyes up, and I was fixing to raise up off the couch, and there sat Buster. And I reached out and went to stroke him, and he just dissolved away. And I told my grandmother about it. Of course, she just poo-pooed it off as a dream. But that was the first time I can actually remember seeing an apparition. So, yeah, I'm an extreme sensitive. Someone might even call a medium. And I'm extremely empathic. And I think that just goes along hand in hand with the experiences, the lifelong experiences that I've had. And that those abilities have just gotten stronger. That's why I can pinpoint in a split second something in the woods or in someone else's photograph, whether what I'm looking at in the photograph is real, a shadow, or not. I can usually tell by the energetic signatures, just like Robin does. I can see the energy of it. I can see the movement. I can see through the photograph into what I'm actually probably into that moment. So that's why my eyes, I think Snuffy likes to call me Hawkeye, because I don't miss much in a photograph.
Gotcha. All right. So Robin, do you hear us okay now?
Yes, I'm good now.
Awesome. And yeah, we can hear you perfect. So if you want to just briefly introduce yourself, and I had asked Jen what she thinks has what kind of powers, what you would categorize yourself as if you want to. You don't have to, but psychic, medium, whatever. And what do you think?
Kind of.
Go ahead.
I'm just me. I'm the resident weirdo. Like, I don't even know where to start with that. For me, it started, I was very, very young. I never experienced my life without my abilities. The Foots talk to me about and show me images in my mind of even them protecting me as a baby, like where something tried to get to me in my crib, and then this giant gold energy bubble just appears over it, so nothing can get to me. I hate the term psychic with a passion. Am I? Yes, I am. I've done readings for people. I can scan people. I can figure out what's going on pretty easily. I try not to unless I absolutely have to, because I feel like it's intrusive. People need their space. They deserve their privacy. I kind of live my life by the rule of just because you can does not mean you should. It's nice to have it in the holster if I need it, but I don't take advantage of it with people. I astral project. I can do remote viewing, empath. I do energy work. I do light work. Open portals, close portals, vortexes, rifts, whatever I need to do, I do. It just seems to happen. As far as with the spirits, I've connected with spirits my whole life. I have seen the apparitions from the time I was a small child. I've always been able to, I can speak telepathically with anything that wants to speak with me. Wow. So it's like, yeah, exactly. No, yes, sometimes you just don't. I don't fit. I don't fit in a category. I am the resident weirdo. I take that with a grain of salt.
I like that.
I am the resident weirdo. I am not your normal girl. Never going to be a normal girl. Don't want to be a normal girl. Pretty much anything that I seem to think like, oh wow, that would be cool if I could do, it just happens. So it's like, careful what you wish for. As far as the apparitions, I've always seen those. I have a son that passed away due to being attacked by Shadow Man. So while I was pregnant. And so, I've dealt with the bad side. I've dealt with the good side. Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah. I absolutely work for the greater good. I help people. I don't do dark things. I have no problem killing dark things. And I have been able to, and I don't have a problem with it when it's warranted. I love my cryptids. I deal with all cryptids. I deal with good ETs. I have dealt with, the bad ones. I've dealt with the bad cryptids. They're out there. The thing people need to realize is when you talk to anybody, if they tell you that everything is all good or all bad, run like hell. because that doesn't exist. That does not exist. The thing is, everything was created with free will. Thank you, sweetheart. And so everything was created with free will, which means it has its choice. I would rather go and fight an entity knowing that they, like the reptilians, are not good. You might get occasionally a good one, but for the most part, they're not good at all. So I would rather go into that battle knowing that I'm dealing with something that's already predominantly bad or predominantly good, because then at least I know where mindset we're at. But when you go, like when you deal with the Fae and some of these other things, and I've dealt with Fae before, and it was a very positive experience. It was not bad at all. But the reality of the situation is these are little beings that have one hell of a lot of power and are literally limitless to it. And they can go good or bad, and you don't want to be on the receiving end if they're bad. So the things that have the ability to fluctuate and go either way, you're more in danger of those than you ever are anything that's actually bad. But there is good and bad in everything, and that's the cosmic balance. It's always going to be that way. We need to suck it up and deal with it. You know, nothing is going to be all good and nothing is going to be all bad. It's like people go after the dogman. Number one, we need to go back to the basics of the dogman and understand that not just one thing created them. We have government created ones, and those were created for bad.
Yeah.
We have some that were born of this earth and simply want to live their life. We have some that were created through various types of things that, you know, I really would rather not go into. But you also have ET generated ones, and there's not just one brand of ET that has generated these things. So, you know, depending on where they were generated is whether or not they're good or bad. The ones that I'm around that I work with every day, I have no issues with them. They've been very helpful to me. They've been very kind to me, and they're welcome here at any time. My house is protected. I have energy grids all over it, bubbles all over it. Anything that's on my property is here because it's pure apart. If it's not pure apart, it's going to get leveled, it's going to get outed, and it's not going to be around too much longer because I don't have a tolerance for it. You know, and usually that kind of stuff is like pacing on the outside of the energy grid. You know, I do bubbles for people. I bubble them, their homes, their pets, whatever they need done. I try really hard to help people. I just feel like in my heart, that's what I need to do. I feel like our world does not have enough human compassion. And I think that we all have certain abilities to an extent. And if we're in a position in our life that we can extend and help someone else, shame on you if you don't. Really. Like, I don't get paid to do this. I don't intend to get paid for that. That's not why I'm here. I don't think a person's wallet should determine if they get help. I don't think a person's bank account should determine whether or not they learn about all the things that are actually out in the world that have been not disclosed to us. So money doesn't enter into it for me. That's not how I operate. I am teaching energy classes and stuff now for another company that's a little bit different, that has nothing to do with cryptids. I don't let that line get crossed. If I'm going to do energy work and teach people, it's not on a cryptid level, because when it comes to the cryptids and the paranormal, I do not get paid. I don't ask to get paid. That is not my goal. I'm surprised anybody even cares what I have to say on any given day, but if somebody does, so somebody actually
You're wise,
does
woman.
want it.
I know.
Yeah,
You're wise.
it's just, no, I really don't feel like it though.
Oh my gosh, no, you are.
So but thank you. You're very kind. So if anybody, you know, did want help, or they did want to talk, or, you know, download or whatever, I'm fine with that. I just feel like everybody has a purpose on this planet. This must be mine for whatever reason. And people find me if they're supposed to. If they don't find me, they're not supposed to. For the people that don't like me, I'm okay with that. You know, it's not an issue for me either way. I don't try to make people adhere to my beliefs. They're mine. And I've never learned one single thing out of a book that I know. I don't read all these books that everybody has. I do have some that people that I know has sent to me, and I treasure those and I will read those. But as far as what I know, it's all based on my experiences, what the Sasquatch have taught me, what the angels have taught me, what Earthkeeper teaches me daily, as well as other cryptids, and my own basis for experiences. I just think that, you know, that way I know it's more true, and it resonates with me. If I get any other information and I don't feel that in my heart it's correct, I don't mess with it. You know, I have the ability to look at something like we get a lot of shapeshifters. We have a lot of ETs that are walking on this planet that have taken possession. I can look at a person and see them in the state that they are presented to the rest of the world. But then I also get like an inside link where I can see if it is actually a ET. Is it something that shapeshifted? So, or shapeshifted. So I kind of come in handy in, you know, those kinds of situations because I've been in those before and somebody's like, I get such a bad vibe off that thing or off that person. I'll look at it and I'm like, oh, probably because that's not a person. You know, I had something show up at my door that looked very human, that was giving me threats and was actually not human at all. You know, fortunately, I have that ability to be able to look at it and tell. So I'm a lot of people's 911 call, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. If I can assist in any way, that's what I do. So I don't have a job description. I don't even know what the hell I am. I'm just a weirdo.
I know. I love that. I love that. And I think you're so talented.
And I felt like a weirdo all my life until I met
too.
Robin.
Well, I was going to, that's what I'm laughing.
Yeah. All the experiences that I have. So I'm like, oh my God, there's another one. Well, thank God, but I'm so sorry.
Exactly.
But I'm so thankful.
Yeah. But you know what? I truly believe that there are millions of us. And I want to put this out there. I am not anybody special. I'm really not. I'm not an expert. I'm not anything special. I'm just me. If I can help people, I try. You know, these crazy things have gone on my whole life. Half things want to kill me because I am, you know, a child of light and I do good work. Others, you know, the bad stuff wants me dead, the good stuff wants me alive. So it just, you know, it is what it is. And you just kind of go with it every day, as Jen knows. Jen and I just kind of had this kinship from the moment we met because we literally get each other.
Yeah.
We get it.
We get it. Because we
know, it's like
similar experiences.
I got
and same cryptids around.
Well, and I got hold of her a few weeks ago and I'm like, okay, major energy shift. It was actually about a month ago, and I'm like, I'm getting more abilities on a daily basis. Don't know why. I mean, everything is a progression, so it starts out low, and it takes your whole lifetime as it builds. But this was like in a course of 2 months. It was like every day I'm getting stronger. Every day I'm getting more abilities. I'm like, okay, why? Like, what's the next big thing that's coming? Because why am I getting all these? You know, and you always find out in the end. But I get message Jen, and I'm like, okay, is it going wacko over there? And she's like, not so much more abilities, but I'm just getting a lot stronger energy. And I'm like, well, I'm getting everything. So why am I have no freaking clue, but this is what's going on. You know, and it doesn't mean that we need them today, but maybe that's just, you know, one more thing in the holster in case we need it later.
Wow. Yeah.
But a lot of good things are coming. Been doing a lot of work, paranormal work the last week, and there should be another shift coming. Hopefully it will be enough to help.
Good. Yeah, we can always use some good news in the spirit realm or what, you know, energy realm.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So our first question, and this was from Rebecca, but it's about my situation. I got a picture of I think what they do is, and maybe you ladies can give me insight on this. I think at night, juvenile Sasquatch are sitting in my backyard. And I feel like maybe they're being placed there like for protection. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. And one time I got, it looked like little, maybe 12 inches tall beings, and they had little it looked like they had robes on, like little monks.
Yeah, they do.
And like I forget what, something from a Star Wars movie. I forget what not Ewoks, but I forget what they were. But anyway, do you have any insight on that? That's what Rebecca was questioning, because the monks.
Okay, so you're talking about the little ones with the
little
robes?
ones. First of all, do you think that is this true, or is this all my like imagination? I mean,
no, it's true. It's true. 100% true.
Together here. Okay. Yeah, and those are like little elementals, or well, there are a lot more energy to these beings than the elementals, but you'll often see them with Dogman and any other cryptid that you have close by you. It's like they look like little monks, or like little elders. They're watchers. They're very curious. You know, something about curious about. It could be just your curiosity about what's going on in your woods. You're opening or awakening, and they're there to watch you.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, Barb. I think that, you've always had, a certain amount of abilities, a certain amount of activity, but I think there's something bigger coming. And I don't think that it's a bad thing. I agree with the term the awakening. I really do. And I think some more will open up. But I also think that people need to realize, when they get into this field and they're like, oh, I just want to see a Bigfoot and it's going to be so great. And it is. It's an incredible feeling. And every time I see them, it feels like the first time all over again. And I'm blessed all over. But I think what people need to realize is these are a high frequency, high energy, multidimensional being. They can be flesh and blood one moment, and they are a human hybrid. And they told me that well before the Ketchum study. But in all of these things that they are, what people fail to understand is all of these beings, these cryptids, these dimensionals, the elementals, anything that comes in and out of portals, the ETs, all of these are all high frequency, high energy, and they all hang on around each other. Hey, sweetheart. And so they're all going to band together. If you see one, there's going to be more. Like, just already go into that mindset going, oh, okay, I might have a Bigfoot today, but God only knows what's going to show up tomorrow because it's going to happen. That's just the way it works.
All right. Well, thank you.
I have seen several of these beings out in the woods, and they look like you say, about 12 inches tall. But when in reality, what they're doing is they're compressing their energies down to come to a lower vibrational frequency, which is our world. So it makes them look smaller than they actually are.
Okay.
So you meet them up there on a ship, you're looking up like this.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. That's wow.
Yeah, and I agree. And then realistically, every single one of these things can shapeshift.
Yes.
Now, if you don't know that you want everybody to see you, are you going to come forth as a 12-foot tall Sasquatch, or are you going to compress your little body down to a 6-inch doll? You're going to be less
than cornfield and look at it with a human face, but in reality, it's a Sasquatch.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. It makes it really hard. And that's where, like, when I teach the energy classes, this is what I focus on with people, and it has nothing to do with cryptids. Everything has an energy signature. I don't care if it's your toothbrush. It has an energy signature. And you learn to read them just like you do someone's hand signature or someone's thumbprint. So when you are to the point and the level with these things that you're speaking with them, something can come at you and tell you it's Winnie the Pooh. And you're a big Winnie the Pooh fan. And you think, oh, that's so great. The essence of it is it could be Satan himself, So that's why it's so vital that you learn these energy signatures. So what you would do, Barb, in your case, when you've got these out there, get a feel for them. Try to zero on them individually and feel what they feel like, so that if something comes to you, or if you can't see it, but you get the feeling for that energy, you know who it is. It's like my guys, my core guys. I can pick them out of nothingness. Like, I don't even have to see them. All I have to do, Shadow had been gone for a while. And I knew he was coming back, but I didn't know when. And I really missed him. I was at home one day, and it had been quite a while. All of a sudden, I felt that energy, and I was like, oh, my God, you're back. And I hear this laughter, and he says, yeah, I'm back. And I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't have to see him. I mean, I got pictures of him the next day, but I didn't have to see him. I knew he was
Shadow, I don't mean to explain who Shadow is. I know, but I don't know,
Yeah, okay. Shadow is years ago when I was in the state of Michigan. We had moved to this property, and it was the greatest place on the planet. And the footsteps were left when I did. But I knew that he was out there, and I kept getting an image of a white male, Bigfoot. He looks very, very human, but there's not 1 ounce of flesh on him that is open. He's covered in hair everywhere, even his eyelashes. Wow. And he's Caucasian. And so I would go out in the woods, and he would follow me. And at first, I never saw him, but I knew what he looked like because they always show me them in my mind, so I can, get a description. Like, if I talk to him, they'll give me the visuals and everything. And I was like, I know you're there. I called him Shadow because he follows me everywhere, literally follows me everywhere. So that's where the name Shadow came from. It was like, okay, you're my shadow. Let's go. So this went on for a long time before I finally got the visual of him. And then he did eventually, at one point, I was standing out in the side yard of the house, and it was all an open area there. And he just walked right up to me in the yard. So in physical form, which was really awesome.
Wow. That is really, thank you for sharing that. That's really so cool. I'm just, everybody's just freaking out. I mean, it is, this is so amazing. So I had prior to the show, I had sent both of you ladies some pictures, and I'll just briefly describe. A friend of mine, Debbie, kind of reached out to me and said, this is her situation. She recently moved to a beautiful farmhouse in Illinois. She lives along like a rural community and has cornfields, in her yard, and it's just beautiful. Yeah. She's a cancer survivor, and she also pretty recently lost her husband. So this is like a new start. Okay. And she was so excited. She said, it's so peaceful. It's so beautiful. And it's so serene, and, loves it. I think it was, let's say about 2 weeks ago, she's closing her blinds at night in her kitchen, and she saw this, like a big black mass, kind of, she said, like hunched over, and when it like maybe caught sight of her looking at it, it like zoom, like ran. So she thought, well, wait, is that, she turned around, wait, like, is that something? And she said, I hope it's not in my house. Turned around, looked around, nothing. It wasn't in the house, nothing in the house. So she didn't really, she had sent me a message, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. Something else. So then late last week, she's just sitting out in her yard during the day. She has a dog who she just loves, her beautiful little dog. And they're sitting out there, and all of a sudden she notices this, like something in the corn that doesn't seem like a big black, like a mass. Okay. Like a big black mass. She said, like, something's there, but I'm not quite sure. It was during the day, so the sun was basically shining on it. So so that where that thing was standing, it was very, very dark. So she took a picture, and she took 2 pictures, and she sent them to me. She said what she did remember was that while she knew it wasn't like a person, or it was something where she remembers the like long black straight hair that was kind of blowing. She could see it blowing. Okay. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to ask my friends. And then I thought, we'll ask and have you do the explanation on the show. Now, here's where it gets weird. And I'm glad I said something to you ladies, because I wasn't even going to say about this. So Sunday night, she's sitting out again and sees something again in the shadows in the corn. I forgot to tell you, I forgot to say this. Let me go back a little bit. She went out the next day after she saw that thing, and she got up enough nerve, went out and looked in the corn, and there was an impression of where this thing was standing. I mean, it was clear something was standing in there. Yeah. So, okay. Sunday out sitting, and this is, I think it was a little bit later toward the evening, maybe she's sitting out there, and she feels like something's watching her now, and she can kind of see that it's lower down so she takes a picture, she was, I think, getting creeped out, goes inside, looks at the picture here. There is a face of a man that's very distinct, like it's plain as day, this face of this man. So she called the police, and the police came out, and they went out and saw where this thing was laying, and and they're going to, I don't think they've had any sort of resolution of who this human is. So what is your ladies' take on this, on Debbie's situation?
I know what mine is. I don't know, Jen, do you want to go first or not?
You go right ahead, Robin.
Yeah,
it was not a human. You compare the size of that head to this. Okay, she said the corn stalks were 9 feet tall.
It was about 9 feet tall. Yeah.
Standardly, when you plant corn, you've got at least 2 feet, 2.5 feet in between each row. So the head is up off the ground in between these 2 stalks of corn. And you take it in your mind and see the size of the head and stand him up. He's going to be over 9 feet tall. So I don't know any basketball players that are even 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
There's beings that, as we have said, they can shapeshift, or they can present themselves looking totally different than what they look like. So my instincts on that is it's a sass or some other being that's just looking at her, saying hi because he's laughing, because there's a dog or wolf-like being right behind her, and then there's a Sasquatch right on the other side. So they're just in a group there looking at her, and he's actually laughing and smiling at her. So,
yes.
So, but they were never going to find a human in that corn patch. Okay. They might have found some Bigfoot or some dog man, but they weren't going to find a human. Not that size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
What do you think about that? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, there's Sasquatch energy all over it. So
right,
regardless of the photo or whatever, it's loaded. That's not the only one around. You know, like you said, they all like to hang out together. But I think even with the picture that she got, we need to, and I'm one of these people, I analyze, I look at the deeper meaning, I look at the deeper everything. It helps me keep people safe, it helps keep me safe, give people some peace of mind. You had mentioned too that this is a woman that has now been widowed, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
When you go into their culture, when you go into their clan and there's a widow or there's been a death or whatever, the rest of the clan will come forward to try to care for the one that has been left without a mate.
Mm-hmm.
So I really strongly pick up energy from that, that they do care for her, they do love her. It's a protection thing around her. That doesn't mean that you can get so giddy with it that you're not careful, because you don't know what's going to come in and out at times. But generally, this is a positive thing. They're there for her. Okay. Eventually, they're going to start pushing that good positive energy on her to help get her through the day, make her feel better, maybe have a few days that are a little less painful than the day before. Now you're talking about the corn. Okay. We have to understand that they are a type of people. They're far from stupid. They are getting ready for winter to be coming. If there's an abundance of food anywhere, they're going to stockpile it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have these cornfields, not only do the deer go into the cornfields, which makes it very easy for any of these cryptids to get a meal, but they also will go in and they'll take random pieces of corn all over through that. So it's not necessarily picked clean in one spot. They gather it, they take it back, they store it, whether it's underground in caves, whether it's in regular caves, whether it's wherever they want to store it, they are. So they're getting food from that, not just for that one meal of the day, but they're also getting it because, you know, winter will come.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start stocking now. They also plant, they also cultivate, they know what they're doing, and things are set up for the seasonal things that they need. That's why people are like, oh, they're not around anymore. It's winter. The hell they are. And I've seen just as many in the wintertime as they don't migrate. Let's get that out there. No migration.
No.
Okay. So like when you get, like you go to Colorado and Pikes Peak and they follow the elk herd. Yeah. They have hunters from the clan that will leave that clan to go follow the elk herd to get food to bring it back. That does not mean the whole clan is migrating. Okay. One of mine that I'm very close to and have been for years, when I lived in Michigan, his mate is actually from Texas, and she was originally born in Florida. So she likes the warm weather. So in the wintertime, she'd be like, love you to death, be back when it's warm. And she'd go down to Florida, and she would come back on and off throughout the winter, but she, you know, she would not stay there for the whole thing because it was cold. So you do have a few individuals like that. But as far as your friend, I felt it very peaceful. I didn't feel negativity in it. I mean, I will go through every pixel on a photo and find what needs to be found in it. And then people are like, well, there's really nothing there. No, it doesn't look like anything there. But I can also tell if it's residual energy from before. I can tell if it's the energy because one's actually standing there close. I can tell you the sex. I can tell you what it looks like. I mean, I can do all that. But it doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant for this situation. The situation with this that I got was they are coming around. They're protecting. She's obviously gone through a lot of trauma because of this. They're going to be mindful of that. Are they getting a little close to the house? They are. This is where she can, in her mind, because please understand that if you are familiar with mind speak and you mind speak, it's great. If you don't mind speak, just because you can't hear it doesn't mean they don't. It doesn't have to be a two-way thing. So in her mind, she needs to say, you know what, you're starting to frighten me a little bit. Please stand back away from the house as long as, and this is important. You always say to them, as long as you're here with a pure heart and in peace, you're welcome to be here. However, please, you know, it's a little frightening to me. I'm not ready yet. If you could please stay a little bit farther back from the house. That doesn't guarantee they will do that, but it does mean that a lot of them do take that into consideration and listen. Okay. But they're gathering food from that area. They are keeping an eye on her. And they were there before she was.
Do you sense any dog men? She felt like she sensed like, okay. All right. Yeah.
But I'm not picking up anything aggressive. I don't see anything out hunting her down or anything like that. I also think that there is more than just the Sasquatch and a couple of the dogmen there. I mean, there are multiples of both, by the way. But I also pick up a cat person there.
Oh.
Now I got two. And they aren't hanging real tight with the other ones, but because of the energy that's there, that's there as well. She's got little people running around, and she does have a very small open portal that it doesn't appear that the Sasquatch and the Dogmen are using. It's more of a portal that's being used for the dimensionals and the elementals.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. I told her to be careful with her dog, right? I mean, that's what I'm, yeah.
The thing is with the dogs, everybody's like, oh, the Bigfoot hates them, the Dogmen hate them, they're going to kill them. That's not true. I have 14 dogs, and they go in the backyard and play with my dogs, okay? That is not true. I have too many pigs. They've never harmed a hair on their head. They don't bother the cats that I have, and unfortunately, my house is home base for every feral cat in this county. I mean, you don't even want to know. It just sickens me. I open my door, and there's like 15 ferals sitting on my front porch, but I guess everybody has to go somewhere. So they don't hurt them either. Okay, here's the key to the whole dog thing. And this is the easiest way I can explain it. If you have your child outside and your child is playing in a yard and a wild coyote, wolf, dog, whatever comes and runs at your child, there is nothing on planet Earth you will not do to protect your child. You will kill that dog. You will do what you have to do to protect your child. What people don't realize is when you have these dogs and the owners don't control the dogs, and they're barking and screaming and going on, that is now a physical threat to them and their family and their children, as well as themselves. Those dogs will be taken out. Not because they hate animals. They do quite well with animals. They use all the animals in the woods as pets and other things. And they're very good with them. But at the same time, we have to be realistic and say, we seem to have two sets of laws. What we will allow ourselves to do and what we allow them to do, and that's not going to work. Right. Their laws and our laws are not the same. Our cultures are not the same. The worlds are not the same. So when you have a situation, and I had to deal with it here in South Carolina, when they hunt deer, they just simply cut the deer loose or the dogs loose on the road because the snakes are so bad. People don't want to go in the woods. So they let the deer or the dogs loose in the woods for days on end. They chase the deer out onto the road, and then the hunters peg them. It's disgusting. Okay, but if the dogs don't bring out any deer, they just leave the dogs. They dump them all the time here. And we had 4 or 5 of them that were running, and they kept attacking the foots, and they would get hold of me, and they're like, do something, get these dogs away from me. So I'm constantly going out in snake-infested woods trying to do this. I'm zapping, because yes, I know how to zap. I'm zapping the dogs, trying to get them to leave the Bigfoot alone. And they tolerated this for about a week to a week and a half. And they finally said to me, we can't do this anymore. They almost got a child. And I'm like, at this point, there's nothing else I can do. I don't want these dogs hurt. I'm a massive animal lover. And there's nothing I won't do for my animals. But I can understand where they're coming from. And they said, please forgive us, but we have to kill them. And they did. And it was the most horrific thing I've ever had to listen to in my life. And I was like, just please get the bodies out of here. I don't want anybody to know you did it because they're going to come hunting for you. But this is after a week and a half of them attacking their children.
Yeah, can't.
We would never allow our children to be attacked.
There's nothing else that can be done. That's right.
Yeah. And so when you have, there's been a couple that have seen dogs in pens and literally ripped them out of the pens. But these are dogs that are allowed out in the pen to scream and bark and be aggressive and growl. And when the Sasquatch come by, there's aggression through the fence with them. They are now considered a physical threat. So just understand that it's not always as it seems, especially in their world and their culture. It's not a matter of defending them. It's about being real. Some of the things they do are horrifying, and I can't defend it. And I've gone up against the bad Sasquatch as well. But my point is, there are two sides to every story, and we need to be clear on what's going on before we assume.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, Standing Stone, I think this was a question. He was saying that I saw something on the way to work about 8 months ago that freaked me out. It ran across the road on the way to work at dawn, and it was pitch black. And he also said, let me find that. Do the Bigfoot faces look like a gorilla back, maybe with wrinkled forehead? Saw a photo of a supposed Bigfoot at the railing on a porch, and it was very clear. So any insight on what he could have seen that day?
A wood booger. Some of the wood boogers look like that, but now they all look different. You think about how different we all look.
Everyone is individualized. You will never find two that look alike.
So I've seen some
every shape, every color.
Yeah. Yeah. So it very well could have been a wood booger. I mean, some of those deeper in Louisiana and deeper in the South that do come up this way hunting, they do tend to look more like gorilla-like. But the ones I've seen here, no. So I've seen some with very human-looking, with hair, to ones that look like the patty squatch. So they're just all different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any idea on what he saw?
Was it running off all four? Did it look canine in its running, or was it running on two legs?
If you want to know that, and you can just answer us that. Let me go down to the.
Myself, I tend to think it's just another type of a Sasquatch.
Okay.
It's not anything dramatic. It's frightening when people see them that haven't seen them before, because they do look so drastically different. And we have people that have very preconceived notions on what they're supposed to look like. I agree with John 1,000,000,000%. They are not all alike. Everyone is different. The shape of the head is different. Mm-hmm. The shape of everything on their body can be different. We also need to be aware of the fact that they have every single different skin coloration, from a red skin to a Caucasian to black to brown. Everything on them is different. And it's really hard, because people need to understand the complexity of these things. There's not just one easy answer for anything. It's layered. It's constantly layered. And people will listen to you and they're like, well, then you don't know what you're talking about because you keep changing it. I'm not changing anything. I'm telling you the truth. There's a complex amount of layering on every answer to every question. It's not trying to avoid an answer. It's being completely transparent and honest. Mm-hmm. Don't you agree, John?
I do agree. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Everybody has this pre-designed concept that a Bigfoot has to look like Patty, or they're using the AI programs to generate photographs and pictures and art. Well, that program is only going to allow them to do an ape-shaped face with the spacing of the ape eye and the shape of the ape eye. They're not apes. So very rarely see one that looks like one in the face. Yeah, some of them have a pronounced brow, some of them have an elongated jaw, but they don't look like an ape. Okay. I've seen some that look
Shadow doesn't
human.
Shadow looks 100% human, only covered with hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He has Caucasian skin. There is no place on this boy that there is not hair. And he has where he actually greases his hair back. I don't know what he uses, but it like greases back like that. And he's got short hair all over his entire face. You can see the white skin underneath. But even his eyes, I mean, I was standing like less than 10 feet from him. Even his eyelashes, above his eyelashes on the skin on the eye and his eyebrows, all hair. The inside of his ears were all this short little hair. It's just a riot.
It's just like Caleb, the one that stepped right out and showed himself to me and Sheree when she got hit with infrasound that time. He's jet black. His skin is jet black. But he looked very human. His face was extremely human. It was just dark black. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they just look different. Not all of them have that appearance of looking like a wood booger or a gorilla type.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look different.
And all of these things can go from an upright position down to all fours and move at the speed of light. And please don't forget the fact that they do belly crawl, so they can go down on their belly. And the best way to tell you is if anybody ever watched the Scooby-Doo cartoons and you saw Scooby-Doo up on his fingers and his toes, going, yeah, ding, 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 ding. Every time I watch him do it, I go, oh my God.
Yes.
And they do it, and they are so fast. And they find it incredibly funny in the tall grass to come up behind us, take their hand, and just wipe our legs out from under us and drop us on our ass. I mean, they just think that's such fun because they have this bizarre sense of humor. They haven't done it to me, but they've got close enough for me to do it. And I'm like, you do that, and I'm zapping back. I'm just telling you. I may not be able to zap as hard as they do, but I'll do it.
I watched males one day racing down a ridge, and there was a felled tree right across the path they were running on. And it was an older juvenile and a younger juvenile. And they were running on two legs as hard as they could run. And they ran and dove over this felled tree at full run, landing on the ground on all four and continued. Wow. And, you know, the big one outran the little one. But still, they were just playing and having a ball.
Wow.
But you're not going to believe the speed that they have.
Yeah.
We don't have anything that can outrun them. And we sure couldn't. You see one running at you, you might as well sit down.
Okay.
Right, because you're not going anywhere. Yeah. Unless he's just trying to get you from the woods. And then he's gonna be on either side of you and he's gonna push you out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because luckily for me, when I got charged by Rosebud, I was lucky enough that right before she hit me and she would have killed me, she recognized me. So she threw herself to the ground and used everything she had digging into the ground to stop herself. And that's how fast she was going, just moving 40 yards.
Oh my
You
gosh.
imagine how fast they can go in full blast.
Oh, that's well.
Unbelievable how fast they can move.
Wow.
And she had very soft looking skin. She had a round head. She had a brow and an elongated chin. But other than that, she was, to me, I thought she was beautiful.
Wow.
Really, I thought she was beautiful because she didn't run over me.
Yes.
Their eyes just blow me away.
Her eyes were
Their
beautiful.
eyes.
Wow.
I had one come up to me in the front yard. There was some work that he wanted me to do. And I remember sitting on my bed, and then I remember being outside. And I'm like, I don't even remember walking out here. And he came up to me in the yard. It was during the night. And he took my arm very gently. I can still remember feeling his hair on my wrist. And I remember looking in his eyes. And I thought, these are the most gorgeous things I have ever seen in my life. Like, it was just incredible.
Wow. Amazing. Liana had asked, how long do you think the juveniles stay with their parents? The same amount of time our kids do, or is there, or maybe different?
A lot of them stay for their full entire lifetime. Asia is Sky's, and Asia is the first one I met when I was little, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and Sky was with her, and he was not very big then, and he's still with her. So they live in family cliques and family clans. So most of them stay.
Okay.
I agree. I think that they also are very independent at a very young age. Like, their kids get more independent than ours do much earlier, but I don't think that means they necessarily leave and move away. I think as they get older and mates appear, one of two things happen. Either they'll leave that clan for another mate to go to that one's clan, or they'll bring the mate into theirs. But I think that family closeness stays. I don't feel like any of them from that I've experienced have ever, like, pushed them out of the nest and said, you're 18, get out and get a job.
No.
They are literally schooled, and everything with them is a learning experience. Nothing is just for fate. It's all a learning experience with them every day. And it's like they're teaching constantly. And I talked about this one on a couple other shows, but I was looking out in my front yard, and one night, it was late, and it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I saw a doe in the front yard, and it looked like she had a fawn with her. And I was like, okay, so I'm watching her out in the front yard, and I didn't go up to the window because I didn't want to scare her. So I went out into another part of the house to look through a different window where it wasn't as, suspicious looking, because they're always watching in my window. And I saw it out there, and I thought, there's something else out there with it. Like, there's something else out there. And I'm watching, and it was a baby Bigfoot. And he was watching her, and I didn't realize at first he was there. I watched her and the fawn leave my front yard. I live on a 2-track road, and she crossed over directly across from my driveway, and her and the fawn were eating. And I happened to look over, and at the end of my driveway, it looked like a little chimpanzee sitting there.
Oh,
with but his face was dark. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, and so I mind speak fluently, and I said, okay, where is mom and dad? Because they're not going to leave that baby out there. That is not going to ever happen. And they're like, we're here. We're training. I said, what are we training for? And they said, just watch. Okay. So I watched, and he did the belly crawl. The parents tranced the deer. There is trancing. And basically what happens during trancing is no pain is felt. It's a very calming experience. Your brain is still able, and they've done it to me before, your brain still processes, but your body just keeps doing what it was automatically doing. You're not frozen. You just keep doing exactly what you're automatically doing. And that's what the doe and the fawn did. And the baby did the belly crawl all the way across the road to where the deer and the fawn were. And it belly crawled all the way under the deer and all the way around the front. Basically, they were teaching it how to come and sneak up on a deer for food. And it practiced, and the doe and the fawn were non-reactive. And it sat up, and it stood, and it looked around for a while. And then the baby got up and walked off and walked in the woods, must have gotten bored. But it was like totally amazing to be able to watch this in action. So everything is an education for them. Nothing is just as it seems. I mean, there is playtime, don't get me wrong, but everything is a learning experience for them and for us. And so when these children are growing up, they're taught things at a very young age. Like I've seen, 9 and 10-year-olds that I'm thinking, my God, I couldn't get my kids to do that until they were 15, 16, 18 years old. Zerky, who's been here.
Oh wait, we just lost.
Very young, and he was okay. I think I'm back.
Okay.
Zerky, I found out about him and his mom and his dad are here, and he played in my front trees and tore all my trees down because he got too big. But he had tunnels all through my bushes and stuff, and he's been here 5 years now, and now he's probably 8, 9 years old, and it's like he's an adult. He comes up at night and sits on my porch and eats the feral cat food because I put buckets and buckets and buckets of feral cat food out. But I'm like, okay, he's a baby, but he's still, at this point, he can handle himself as an adult if he has to.
Mm.
The maternal side of them is so much deeper than even ours. Like, we think we're protective of our kids. That is nothing compared to what goes on with them.
Wow. Okay. Just going back to Standing Stone, because he gave us a little bit more information. I think he just wants to see if you ladies have any idea what it was. So he said he saw it. So it went across the road in front of him, and it was like its legs were going so fast. It was like a cartoon, like Roadrunner legs, like in a circle. He said, but then he saw it. I saw it when it went into the woods on the other side. I saw the bottom half black color. The legs were moving like a blur when it stopped. And that is when he thinks there were 2 of them. So do you have any idea? Maybe you don't.
Actually think there was 3. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm going to go against the grain. I think that he had a family group there. And I think one was a male, a female, and then I keep getting a small child.
Oh, cool.
So
back
that was there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe you saw the 2 adults. And all right, great, thank you. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions? Have you seen questions? No. If you guys have questions, get them in. Yeah, we have all kinds of. I know Vicki and Kenny Busby. They're on here, and they welcome guys. They have a family that they have a relationship with, her and her husband, and they just
that's wonderful.
Wow, it is just amazing. Daryl Denton, hey Daryl, had mentioned that Jennifer, that you had all your chickens taken over the last year, and do you think?
It was definitely Sass or Dogman. I'm pretty sure it's Dogman from the prints that was left behind, but they were wise. They would unlatch the door, open it and go in, sit down, pluck the chicken and eat it, stand up and all that nice sawdust and let me perfect prints, go back out the door and
how rude.
Back.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just rude. The only time they ever did anything. I mean, honestly.
You got to get Robin up there to
ate all my lean.
Jennifer, have you used the mom voice? Use the mom voice, because believe it or not, it doesn't always help.
Mommy voice.
No, we had
to make your damn cornbread. Now you've killed all my chickens. You don't get any cornbread.
Exactly.
That is
we had juveniles. The adolescents and the juveniles were playing on my roof. Now my house is a 2-story house, but I'm on the lower floor, and my bedroom is there. There's nothing above my bedroom, and they would go up there and they play on the roof and they'd pound on it, knock on it, and everything. I did everything. I went to the parents. They tried to stop them. I threatened to go to council, and I didn't want to bother council with something that trivial. And I'm like, you're going to stop it. I did everything I was supposed to do. They wouldn't stop. So then you see this crazy person at 10:30 at night outside in her pajamas going, you will get your hairy asses off the roof right now. We are not playing this game. It's going to stop, because the first one that breaks my roof, I am going to lambaste. I swear to you. And they've gotten really good. Do I think that they're all going to listen to me? No, let me be clear. Nobody listens to me. Okay. I can't even get my own family to listen to me. But every once in a while, I get lucky. The mom voice is helpful, because they don't understand why we're giving them the mom voice.
Well, I had one that was using my roof as a racetrack, and I've got a really long house, and every night he was just up and down that roof, just up and down. I sleep with my bedroom window open. So finally one night, and I went outside when I took the gifting basket to the tree, and I stood there and complained about it. I said, look, Bobby, I can't get any sleep between Bobby snoring and your child running. Please make it stop. Okay.
I
Please stop.
know.
So I go back to bed that next night, and I'm awakened by the running on the roof. And I sit up, and I'm not 2 feet from the window, and I hear a female come up and start talking to him really loud in their language. And he comes up to squabbles back at her, and she squabbles back at him. And then finally he says, "No, because I don't want to." I sat straight up in that bed, almost hit myself on the chest because he said it in plain English.
Oh my God.
No, because I don't want to.
Wow.
And then I heard a scuffle like she yanked him off the roof.
Yeah.
So don't let them fool you. They can mimic our language. They can speak our language. They can understand every language they're around. But they can literally, the young ones, I have heard them speak it.
Wow.
Because it sure as hell was not a human child on my roof, 25 feet in the air, and sassing his mama and saying, "No, I don't want to." It was a sass.
I'm not trying to interrupt, but
No, Kath.
a question. Yeah, I'd like to address that if I can, only because I think it's important right now. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to overtalk.
No. Yeah. So Kath asked, for people that don't have the, the camera, may I ask a question on behalf of my good friend, please? She has a portal on her land. Recently, female calves are passing with different issues. We're wondering if this is from the portal, a curse, spell, or being a female energy on this land is an issue. Thanks. Much appreciated.
Okay. What I'm getting off of that, nobody's trying to do anything to hurt the cows. Okay. It's not a matter of trying to. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the backlash. Portals have a lot of energy to them, and you have a lot of things. Just imagine being on an expressway with everybody's different cars going up and down. And so you've got different energies coming in and out, and animals pick up energy extremely easy. So it's not nothing, I promise you, nothing is deliberately trying to do it. I'm not picking up a sense of a spell. I can do more work with you if you want later. That's not a problem. But I'm not picking up anything as far as trying to do anything other than the energy that's coming out of that portal. So what probably would need to be done, you can't just go up and close every portal that you want to. It's a disaster for the paranormal realm. Okay. It's just like that would be somebody going onto the biggest expressway that you have through your state and just shutting it down randomly. That doesn't work. Okay. And what happens is it causes anger and bad vibes, and everybody ends up fighting, and that's not anything anybody wants. But there needs to be something done. She's either going to have to move these cows away from where that portal is and get something between them, where then she can go and push her own good energy. It's not bad energy that's there. It's a different energy. It's a high frequency energy and a high energy level that's causing the cows to fail like that. So you can counteract that with a lot of your own personal good energy. My advice, for whatever it's worth, is if you can move the cows away from where the portal is, that's going to be your first step. And then you're going to want to go out there. And for people that know how to do grounding, this is easier than people that don't. Go out there, sit on the ground, take your hands, push it into that dirt, and take energy from your body that's pure and it's human and it's an energy that the cows are comfortable with, and start pushing that into that soil and into that ground and into that space around it. And that will help offset that balance.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Kath, and then if you have any more, if you can contact Robin, right? If you need any more help with
absolutely.
that.
I'm under Robin HAYNES-MCCRAY on Facebook. If you send it to Robin McCray, I'll never hear you.
Okay.
Because I can't even get into that account. So
all right. So Robin HAYNES-MCCRAY. Okay. I believe it was Carrie Ann had asked, she said, I think she said witches. What about witches? But I don't know what exactly, if she had a certain question about, she said, what do you think about witches? I don't know. Maybe, where was that?
Jen, do you want it? I'm not trying to overtalk you.
No,
I feel bad because I don't want to be the one doing all talking. When it comes to witches, I think that we read a lot of books. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that there are people that have abilities that people can term as a witch. Okay. This is just my own opinion. That means nothing. I don't put things in classifications to begin with. So that's part of it. You're talking about people that can do what they call black magic or dark magic. And then there's also things that people can do that are more towards the light. And so if you're talking about in terms of those kind of witches, there actually are, unfortunately, and because I am a child of God, I'm a child of light and energy work and everything else, as is Jen, there are ways to stop dark magic, whether it's a matter of neutralizing it. We don't ever cross that line. Once you cross the line and you start going into anything dark, there is nothing you can do to reverse it. There's not a karma cleanse. There is nothing that's going to undo what you've already done. Okay, so please be clear on that. When I get sent to work on somebody that's using dark magic and it's causing problems for the cryptids or for other humans or whatever, I don't do any harmful things. Okay, I just don't. I know how to neutralize it without causing direct pain on anybody or hurting them. That being said, when it comes to a paranormal spectrum and there's bad things that need to be removed, I have been taught and trained by the Sasquatch as to how to do that and what to do it with. You know, so things have to be addressed, and they are. I would never at any time for any reason ever cross over to even a gray area, let alone a dark area.
No, there's no going back.
No, there is none. Mm-mm. So, you know, I work on the side of light.
So if you want negativity coming back to you, you be sure and send it out. But if you want the good things and light and love in your life coming at you full force, that's what you send out. So anytime you cross that line and go dark or even go gray, like Robin just said, there's no coming back because you've opened up that can of worms and you can't catch them.
No, and I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I can do a karma cleanse." Well, you just take the karma cleanse, and I think maybe you might make yourself feel better. I'm not saying it's not helpful. What I'm saying is you can't undo what's been done. Like, you know, I can see, this is so crazy. Everybody's gonna think I'm nuts. One of the abilities I have is, like, we had a UFO that came down the backyard a couple weeks ago. Not a big deal. Happens a lot. So I wanted to see what came out of it. I mean, I saw it after it was already out there. And so basically you focus on it, you reach around the time loop so that you can see it play backwards just like a movie, and then I can watch it. So I can rewind that time loop. I can't change what's already happened. You don't, I mean, I don't. I'm sure there's somebody that probably can, that is a master magician or something. It ain't me. You can't change what's already happened. All you can do is move forward. You can rewatch that time loop and correct it. And I do that a lot for a lot of people. They're like, something just happened. I don't know what happened. Can you figure it out? And I can do that and rewatch it, respin it just like a rerun on a movie. But when you cross certain barriers, I mean, there's rules to this stuff. I don't want anybody out there to think that, you know, this is just all fun and games. I know, and I'm sure Jen is the same way. I know I have rules I have to play by.
We all do.
Right, we do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not like you do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't work that way. And again, and I repeat this all the time, not an expert. I'm just a weirdo. And the thing of it is just because you can doesn't mean you should. There are a lot of things that I can do. Okay? Doesn't mean I've done them. It means that if it comes a situation that it's necessary to do so, I can act accordingly. Have those situations all happened yet? No. I am prepared for those situations because the Sasquatch prepared me for them, because Earthkeeper has, because the angels have. And then I can do what needs to be done should that situation arise. That doesn't mean I'm doing them. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I take what I do excessively seriously, almost to a detriment to my own self and my own relationships, because I take it that seriously. Doesn't mean we can't have fun. Like Jen and I get talking and we're laughing our ass off, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
I was laughing at my husband. I think it was night before last now. You know, he gets up at 3:00. Bo just has to go out and pee. He goes to the back door and Bo goes running out barking at my little flower thing. I have my herbs growing in. It looks like a hut that Sasquatch. I built it to look like that. And Bo runs around the back barking, and out comes a dogman pup. Well, Bob's described it as looking like canine running on all four, but when it turned its head back and looked at him, he said it looked like a giant rat. I said it could have been giant rat. It had been dogman pup. He said, but Jen, it was white. It was like fog, and it ran 15 feet across the yard looking at me, and then poof.
Wow.
He said, I know it wasn't a ghost. I said, no, it cloaked. He said, but it was in our backyard. I said, yeah, I know. They do that all the time. Well, I ran around and looked the next day and took 2 pictures, and there was a perfect little paw print about the size of my hand inside my flower bed. The dogs had it in it because the way I built it, I lattice worked a lot of cedar branches and made it look like a little igloo. Dogs had it in it. It did. It pulled up all my bee balm and all my cat mint and ate all the roots off of them and just left the box and the flowers laying there.
Oh gosh!
But apparently, Bo and Bob scared him. Well, Bob was terrified because up until this point he had never seen one of the dog men. Lucky for him, it was a pup. I said, "You better Mama, come in and get the pup."
Well, and also be very clear that when it comes to the cryptids, there are no two alike, and that transfers over to dogmen as well. And like I have a picture of a dogman, and he looks like he's got the head of a hyena, which is ridiculous because a hyena isn't a dog.
I've heard that, though,
but I've seen one that looks.
And then I have others that look like a German Shepherd. I have one that doesn't even look like a German Shepherd, but it does have pointed ears. So I just, if I may have a moment to say that when these things are created, whether it's a dogman, a Sasquatch, a cat person, a goat person, lizard man, whatever, these things, when they are created, it depends on what's grabbed when they're created. Like Amula, she's a cat person that's here and has been here for several years. She looks like a domestic cat, which would make perfect sense to me considering, domestic cat central, Feral's here. So she's not going to have the lion head. She looks like a domestic cat on top. She actually looks like a hairless cat.
Wow.
That's what was used when she was created. So when she has her babies, they're going to look like that as well, or depending on what she's been bred with. So when it comes to Sasquatch, when it comes to dogmen, whatever dog that's out there, whatever Sasquatch that's out there, they breed, they can reproduce on their own. But at the beginning of that particular chain of genetics, whatever was used at that time is going to have to do with what they look like. So please don't ever limit yourself and question your sanity when you see one of these things that don't look like what you have been told they should look like. Because there's a reason for it. They're all different colors. There's no reason for anybody to believe that a dogman isn't going to be white. There's no reason for anybody to believe they're not going to be red. Really and truly. So I caution people, don't limit yourself. If you are on that cusp where you're starting to accept the reality that these things are here and that they are living among us, please don't block yourself down again with false misconceptions that they're supposed to be a certain way, because you're not helping yourself. You've now made it to that level where you're realizing that the world that we see every day never existed. That's a fallacy. It was never there.
He didn't think it was white. He thought it was smoke. He said, I thought it was smoke.
Yeah.
Like,
when you said that, I just wanted to put that out there. I knew what you were talking about, but I thought, people need to realize.
I had a portal today, and it looked like I had a flaming tree. Did I show you that picture, Barbara?
Yes.
No, you got to send it to me.
Yeah,
I've been in meetings all day. All I do anymore are meetings.
That was amazing.
And then at the end of the video, it goes back green. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Then I went back and looked at it, and it was full of dogmen. Full of it. Some sass there, too. I thought I sent it to you, Rob. I have to send it to you when I get off.
Wow.
No, you don't have to. I've been just running all day. I have one meeting after another all day long.
But see, you just never know. But that was the type of portal, I believe. And the portals do affect everything that's growing. Last year, I was having so much activity. My garden was a joke. My tomatoes were like this big around,
Oh, wow.
And this year, they're like,
wow.
I've been canning for weeks because my small, tiny garden is just abundant this year. So the portal energy has slackened up some.
I see.
Yeah. And
but it was amazing to watch that.
All right.
Yeah, we have to remember that the energy from these beings and from these portals and the rifts and the dimensions and everything, it's not what we normally experience. And it's so cute. Everybody says, oh, I'm up at the 5D level now. Well, you might be in a paranormal world, but when you're still like in our present world, it's not there yet. Okay. We're trying to catch up. And I think people's energies can go up like that. Yeah, absolutely. So when they say that, but understand that we're still living in a 3-dimensional world, and the energy level, we would have to have so many of our type of people on board with us to raise that up where it needs to be. And God knows that there are hundreds of thousands of us trying daily, to get it there. We're trying, aren't we, Jen?
Yes, girl.
And we're trying.
Trying this.
You know, we're trying. We're working on it, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. We have another question from Squatch and Holler. They said, we had a very loud scream a few weeks ago out in the field with us. It sounded witch-like. We were sitting around the fire. Everyone left after that. It was after midnight. I have no idea what it was.
It was a female. It was just a female squat.
Okay.
Yeah, a female squatch, because they sound just like a witch cackling or a witch screaming, especially a female screaming. Yeah.
Wow.
I would definitely say that was a Sasquatch.
That's amazing. Kath had said, yes, if you leave the front door open, expect visitors and never be a meanie. Always love meeting you two gals. Okay, yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any. Standing Stone again. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if this is a question. He is right now in a remote area on vacation. He took some photos down the road in a fern grove of a bent over tree pinned to the ground just 3 hours ago. He's not sure if it's natural. It's just like the pics he's seen. He looked for footprints, saw none there, was a lot of flooding. Do you have any insight on that? You get anything from that?
I'm not getting a whole lot.
Okay.
At all. I'm sorry. I wish I got more on it, but I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm just being
Sometimes
honest. I think that's more just like a natural thing. And it doesn't mean that they haven't been there. You know, they levitate. So if it's a lot of flooding or whatever, you've got that thing going on. Or they're up in the trees and moving through the trees.
Okay. And this is Carrie Ann had said to both ladies, I smell portals before I realize they are there. I see without a camera. Do you ever smell a portal, or am I weird? Well, we're all weird. So Carrie, you're right.
Welcome to the weird group.
Yeah.
Hey, and
Welcome to the weird.
Let me just say, the weird group, we're the cool kids. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. I choose to believe that for my own mental capacity. The weird group is the place to be.
Like burning wood and burning plastic. And then the closer I get to it, it feels like a resonating energy. That's what I can compare it to, is like not burning rubber, but like a burning plastic, like maybe hot wires.
Yeah.
It's what
for me,
smell.
I just
like fruity flowers, like jasmine. I smell a lot of jasmine.
Yeah, a lot of female Sasquatch are into the, rubbing the jasmine and the flowers and the lavender on it. For me, I'm just, again, the weirdo. I can look at a picture, show me a map. I can show you where you're going to find a vortex, a portal, whatever. It's just like, it is automatic. I walk on a property and I don't care if I'm on 100 acres, and I'll walk on a property and I'll be like, oh, okay, if you go back X amount of acres, if you go over here, go to the left, go here, whatever, that's where it's going to be. And 9 out of 10 times that's it. Duke Sullivan, World Bigfoot Radio, who I love and adore, and he goes up in the mountains in Montana, and he will call me and he'll say, hey, I'm up here. Are they up here? I'm like, yeah, they're waiting. Okay, where? Okay, go da 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 da. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that's where they were last time. And then they go there and that's where they're at. You know, it's just a weird, freaky thing.
That's amazing, though. Yeah, Carrie Ann says cotton candy, then musky burning smells. So like a sweet, and then a Grizzly, do you have any questions?
No,
I
have flashing the questions up on the screen for you.
Yeah, thank you. But do you have any questions yourself?
No, they're answering everything.
Okay. All right, awesome. I had a question, ladies, that like Grizzly, is it okay if I ask Grizzly like about what you have going on in your studio at times?
No, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I know Jen had expressed some concern to me, and I kind of passed that on to Grizzly. So do you ladies sense anything that's still there in his studio, or has he pretty much cleansed that off? Because he's done a lot of work, right?
He's got some residual energy. Nothing that's going to hurt you or attack you or anything, but you got some residual stuff going on. So we need to get rid of that. It's not really hard to do it.
And I felt like an object when I first saw it in the video when it happened. There was a small object, and I kept seeing an owl in my mind. I don't know if I was correct or not, but it had something to do with an owl-like object that was in your studio, and it was somehow attached to it. It was coming out of it, but
I haven't seen the video. I'm flying blind here. All I'm getting is when Barb asked it, I focused on Grizzly and then what was around him in that moment, and that's what I got. So it's not overly hard to get rid of it at all. I mean, I can tell you how to do it. You're going to take your own energy to get it out of there. Then once I explained to you how to do that, you're going to push that energy all around the room, and then you're going to go directly into a cold shower. So as cold as you can stand it, because it's going to wash it down the drain. You don't have any attachments, I will tell you that. You just have a few things that float around you every now and then. I don't know if maybe you have periods where, you get kind of down or whatever, but you have this little tiny spots of gray that pop in and out. And I mean, it's normal. We all have moments where we get down or whatever, but I feel like maybe there's something there that when you have those moments that comes in on that, but all correctable, nothing overly bad.
Good.
Okay. Awesome.
And Russell
Thank
has
you.
a question for you, Barb.
Yeah,
They
Russell.
absolutely do.
There
They
is,
have
let's see,
terrible.
I'll get it for you, an 80-foot tall tree that turned blood red. No other
That is
tree in
awesome.
my land.
That,
was
yeah.
red.
Incredible.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Jen, I saw you sent me something, but I can't get over there to look at it right now, so I will.
Incredible.
As far as Russell's question, they absolutely have terrible teeth issue, like decay. They do take, at some point in time, they will take branches or different things to try to get in there. According to my guys, they do what they can with what they have. It is an issue. When people do give them gifts or leave food or whatever, please, number one, don't do it on a regular basis because you don't know what's going to happen if you should ever stop. If it's a group that you're accustomed to, that's a little bit different. Like gun military is well enough to know. I had a group that I fed all the time, and I knew was very close to them. I knew I was okay. But overall, just once in a while, do it. Be in your mindset when you leave any type of a food gift that there are no dentists out there. We don't want a lot of hard sugars, so just kind of be mindful of that. But yes, they absolutely have a severe problem with tooth decay. They have a problem with the abscesses. I do healing work on them, and I've had to work on it a lot. And it can go sepsis very easy for them. And it can go to other ailments within the body. So yes, they do.
Oh, the poor things, because that's just a terrible feeling to be in pain, from a tooth abscess.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Anybody else have any questions? Did I miss any, Grizzly? I don't know.
I think you got them all.
All right. I will ask you, please, if you have any questions, if we miss them. Okay. Oh, here we have. Okay. Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Had an Aboriginal shaman tell me we had a portal to 27 realms in our dam. It is close to the house. He says it is guarded, but I do see when it is opened.
Yeah, that's one of those things that let them do what they need to do. That's part of their world. It's not part of our world. They don't need our help. If they do need our help, trust me when I tell you they have no problem asking for it, do they, Jen?
Oh, they have no problem.
Let them do their thing.
I'm not asking for help from them either. I said, my horse is sick. My horse is dying. I need help. What's wrong with him? And I went to bed that night and I saw a blast of white light coming through my bedroom light, which was, if I had looked out the window, I'd been looking right at my hay round, right where my horse was standing. Of course, I jumped up, pulled back the curtains and looked, and there was a huge portal of white light. It was flat like a disc, about 3 feet off the ground above my horse who was laying down. And there was the waist down of a Sasquatch extended down out of the portal with his arms around the horse. I said, okay, they're going to tend to him. I'm just going to lay down and go to sleep. Well, the next morning I found him 50 yards across the field with his rear toward the creek, which was totally turned around from the way he had been. And he could not get up. He was so weakened. There's no way he could have stood and moved himself. But he did pass away that day. And they said, I got through mind speak. There was nothing they could do. That he was too sick from their portals, and they had affected him so badly that he was not going to survive.
Yeah, and they don't do that on purpose.
No.
It's like people will ask me, I've had people ask me, will they purposely make you sick? If you're being mean or whatever and they're zapping you, that's the one thing. But they don't put illnesses in your body. They don't. But we have to be realistic and understand that this is a higher frequency. It is a higher energy. Our bodies aren't able to handle that. And what I do with mine, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just am saying this is what works for me is if I'm going to be out with close interaction with them, I'll be like, okay, guys, my body can't handle it. So pull it back a little bit. Just pull that energy back a little bit. And I don't have a problem with them doing it. You know, they don't want to hurt me. They don't want to hurt anybody. But they can't change what their body chemistry is any more than we can. Like, you go outside and you go to the store and you're around people, you're not trying to harm anybody. You're just living your life. And it's the same thing with them.
Michelle had said, back to that, you know, she has the portal. She said I found the energies challenging since being there. Do you have any maybe some tips for her on what to do?
Well, that first of all, Russell asked a question about petroglyphs. They can do all those things. They write all of it. But back to what we were talking about. Just wanted to get that real quick so it didn't pass.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the energy that comes out of those, it's just like it's not the same thing, no, but it's a similar situation. It's just like if you're getting radiation poisoning.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not radiation, but that's the easiest thing that I can link it to for an explanation. And just like I said with the cows, get those cows away from the front of that. Start pushing that positive energy around it, almost like a barrier for that portal. They need their portals. Now, if it's something that's bad and it's bad things coming through it, you know, I've been called to areas to shut down portals. I can do it. I can do it all day long. Doesn't mean I should. It means if it's a bad portal, and I have shut them down before because it was letting bad things in that were hurt.
We lost your
audio. There we go.
Sorry.
No, that's
for the bad portals. You know, we can shut those down. It's not that we can't. It's that unless there's a reason that it's not safe for people, then we shouldn't. So we try to work with it. If that's what's on that property, let it be. Let it do its own thing, unless you're finding it's causing an issue for you. If it's causing an issue with the animals or whatever, move those animals out of that area. Let's try to clean up the area around it. Let's get some positive energy from our type of people on it, so the transition isn't like a sucker punch to the gut.
Yeah, I think she's talking about it's actually her property, because she said her house is on a ley line as well. So
she's got so much energy going on there. My guess is if she's on ley line, which is probably why one of the reasons the portal's there, she's got other things going on there as well. There could be vortexes there. There could be energy holes there. All of those things. And it's an overabundance of energy. And she's, you know, you can try to calm that down, but it's going to be very, very difficult because it's a natural thing that's there. It's not something placed there to cause harm or damage. There's nobody to go after for it. It's just the location itself. And so that's when you have to go in and try to dissect every single aspect of it and figure out how to learn to work with it and manipulate the energy that is there so it's a livable situation.
Okay. Yeah, and she said, interesting you say that the cows have been hanging as far away from the portal as possible lately, which is a change in behavior. So yeah, good insight on that. Russell wants to know, do you think that Sasquatch can see color?
Yes.
Yeah.
They can see any more colors than we can. Their eyes are much higher advanced than the human eye. You think of the eyesight of a dog or a cat and how much more advanced it is over a human eye. Now you multiply that about 1,000 and give it to a Sasquatch or give it to a dog man. Their eyesight and their hearing is uncanny, as well as their sense of smell. Okay. They can see every color of the spectrum, and we cannot.
I don't necessarily know that they see the colors as we see them. I will say that. I think they see it a little bit different. The color range is different, but they see more colors than we do. I agree with everything Jen said. I just don't necessarily know that they see them as straightforward. Like we look at it and say, oh, that's blue, that's red, that's green. I know that they can also see the colors, but because they're so different than us, whether or not they consider their colors the same as what we consider them, that might be a little bit of a discrepancy there.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this is Michelle again. Yeah, I was told I was sent here to be a guardian of the land around the portal. So where do I go to learn everything I can?
Okay, is Michelle the one that has all the different energies and stuff?
Yeah, she had that was opened by the shaman.
Okay. I don't know of any specific person to send you to other than to tell you to talk to myself. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm better than anybody. Don't take it that way. But if you want to reach out to me, I'm under Robin Haynes McCray on Facebook. It might take me a day to get back with you because I'm right in the middle of a major project right now. But yeah, I'm happy to help you if I can. If I can't, I will try to help you find somebody that can get you where you need to be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Unless Jen has another answer that would be helpful.
Same. I mean, I would be more than glad to help her as well. I'm very easy to find within our group. And my email is jennib239@gmail.com if anybody would want to send me an email.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody else? I feel like I had a question. What was my question?
Russell's got another one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you think Sasquatch would get smallpox?
Due to the fact that they have partly a human lineage, there's nothing that they can't get that we have.
Mm-hmm.
They had COVID. I did healing work on them for COVID.
Okay.
So do I think that they would get it as easily as we do? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know, due to the knowledge that I have with the ETs, it does give them some immunities because the ETs they don't get COVID.
Okay.
Because genetically they can't. And that part should protect the Sasquatch from a lot. But there is a human lineage in there too. So it would depend on exactly how much of a human lineage is in there. It also depends on how often they're using the portals. When they're using the portals a lot, that ET side seems to come out a lot more, so it stops them from getting a lot of illnesses. When they stay more in flesh and blood not just being in our world, but in the flesh and blood part of our world where they're not transitioning into cloaking and they're not, doing the other things and they're just staying more flesh and blood, it puts them at a higher risk for all the human diseases. Yeah.
For the most part, they will portal themselves to a safer location until the illness dies down and then come back.
Yes, absolutely.
I believe this is Carrie Ann. She said, I have lots of portals around my house. And I know we have seen her pictures, and yes, she does.
Mm-hmm.
Black smoke chases her, my puppy, sent my other dog crazy, dangerous. What can I do?
To me, that's not coming from a portal. That's coming from a vortex that's spinning the wrong way. So, and I could be wrong. I'm just saying this is my opinion for what it's worth. Jen might have more information on it than me, but
no,
it's a vortex. It's a vortex spinning the wrong way, which pulls everything bad out of the ground and cuts it loose in the energy. So what you have to do is locate the vortex, respin it, because you want everything clockwise, not counterclockwise.
Oh, wow.
Or it's a watcher that's come through that portal and it's appearing as a dark smoke. And they can be negative or they can be light. As Robin said earlier, you just don't know. And many of them are temperamental and they don't like dogs at all. So it could be an entity.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Yeah, they're saying that. Well, yeah, Tammy Johnson, this is totally worth watching it all over. Thank you, ladies. This has been very enlightening. Very grateful. That was Michelle with the portal on her property.
Happy to help.
Yeah. And then this is just. I think it's black smoke doesn't sound very good. That's true and hot. And are you sure it's smoke? Okay. Yeah. So it's bad energy.
Yeah. And if anybody isn't on Facebook and they need to reach me, I'm under RLYNNE and then a period. If you don't put the period in, I won't get it. And then FORESTPEOPLE@gmail.com.
Okay.
The worst entity that I've ever had to deal with was on Cherie's old property. And it was a conjured entity by an old shaman, Native American shamans, because it was a Native American burial ground that they had built this farm on. And it had been generated long ago to protect the burial of the natives, and it was like black smoke, but it could go from very small to extremely large, and it was a horror to deal with.
Okay. All right. I got a message from a friend of mine that this is, and I talked about this on another show, but we have a local neighborhood here, and it's there's a lot of bad domestic violence to the point where they're calling SWAT teams in, and there's been a couple people murdered. It seems like anyone that moves into this neighborhood, it's like an uncharacteristic change in personality will come over them. Do you ladies have any insight on that?
Negativity is attracted to negative energy, and the more of it is located in one area, the larger it's going to grow and become. Now, if there's a portal there that's dark already, and there's dark energies and entities that come out of that, they can cause chaos in that whole area and can intensify the effects of the emotional effects and the physical effects on humans and on animals.
Okay.
I agree. And the other thing too is, do you go back and look in the history of that area? What was there was black magic done there. Once the ground is tainted with black magic, you have to go in and you have to clean it and purify it, which I've done before. I've gotten called to various places for that. So you've got to go in and you've got to strip that out of that land. You've got to get that negativity out of there and the dark magic out of it. And then you've got to respin the energy. You've got to re-energize it with pure energy and light. So if that hasn't been done, and it's an area that was originally started out like that, and you bring all these people in, and then you get, like Jen said, dark entities, anything, dark energies, it piles up, and it becomes this uncontrollable mass. And you can't just go in and blast everything at that point, because you've got to take it off in layers, because it was put on in layers.
Okay. All right.
It will just feed and grow. And also look back and see if it was a cemetery, because they were the world's worst in the early 1900s to move a cemetery to build homes and houses in clusters. They were just moving the tombstones.
I wonder too if it, I'll have to ask her if it would be, maybe like Native Americans, First Nations, if people were moved, or just disregarded. Russell East, thanks ladies. I'll let her know about that. Russell had do you think forest fires move them out of an area for good, or do they go back?
I think if it's their home, they will go back eventually once everything regrows itself. If they're lucky enough to get away from the fires, sometimes the fire may come down in between them and their portal, and they have to run on foot to get out. And that's in the instance of Mount St. Helens, when they lost so many. We lost a lot that could not escape. And their bodies, of course, went into government, and the government dissected a lot. Okay. So, but for the most part, they do go back. Yeah. But there was many cryptids that were killed during the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980.
That's what. Yeah. Do you have any idea? Any number of, because we've had a lot of discussion.
It was hundreds of them that were killed, if not thousands.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Very. Yeah, very true. And yes, that's really, people will argue so much about that, but it makes sense that's what happened. Is it true that that there's okay, what I had heard dairy.
She's breaking up.
Yep, losing her.
All right.
What do you think the government called lovely dog DNA and Sasquatch DNA that they have to make their little hybrids, little soldier killers? A lot of it came from the 1980 Mount St. Helens blast, because most of them died within the first 15 minutes after the initial blast and the landslide.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't hear a word you said, Barb.
Now,
and there she went. I think what she was going to ask you is, we heard rumors and that there are people that work for the government that hunt these creatures throughout the country.
They are
the rogue ones.
That's very well
so-called rogue ones.
Known names that help
them
do too.
Yeah, and not only are they getting rogue ones. Okay, let's be clear. A lot of the government stuff will say that they're rogues and they're killing people and they're doing all these things when they're not actually doing anything other than they've been spotted. And that's how their government puts a spin on it to justify the murder that they do.
Just like all the UFO stuff that's been on the news all week, and it's just a red flag. They've already got something. It's just a red flag, It's
so
all
I asked the question about the ones that are hunting the cryptids. Is that was your question? The government officials?
I was just going to say, is it true that they have almost like sanctuaries that they have made for them?
They aren't sanctuaries; they're torture chambers. But yes, they have.
They are not sanctuaries.
They're underground bunkers with loads and loads of them. The only reason why I know that is because I get contacted by the Sasquatch to help get them out, to do astral projection, and I've seen what they've done to them. They're also injecting them with ET blood, including Draco, to try to make a mean killing machine that will help our government.
Killers, the ones that are released and are being monitored, you know, you hear of an attack, and then all of a sudden the state wildlife people show up, and then they're run off by the black helicopters. Well, you know, that's the ones they brought up from the dumps and have released and are trying to see what they're going to do.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But you know, it gives all dog man and a lot of sass a bad rap. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's not within their control. They have been programmed through drugs,
Right.
through torture, through blood infusions, through whatever technology that they are using that we don't know about to perform these things, to turn them into soldiers.
Right.
Okay. And is that just with that's not with all, that's with some, is that what you're
That's
saying?
just with some. Yeah, that's just with some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a rogue that you see out going to try and harm someone. That's not. It's one of theirs, but it's not one. It's not a regular dog man or a regular Sasquatch, but it's something that's been altered by an alien presence, an ET presence, usually working with our beloved government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
Grizzly, do you see that person you want to get rid of them Halicon hat? I don't think that's very
Yeah,
inappropriate.
the answer, Russell's.
Oh, yes. What do you, Russell? So, what do you think is their favorite food, which may be different by area?
It's an individual thing. It's like everybody has their own taste buds. I have one that I'm very close to, and he likes those Chex Muddy Buddies. Like every time I buy him, he swipes them, and I find the bag out in the woods with him. But you know, a common thing they like is apples, peanut butter. It seems to be a generic thing, but it depends on area. It depends on what food they're used to. Everybody has different taste buds.
My
try it out and find
deer and turkey. They have annihilated my wild turkey population. They have completely destroyed the coyote population, but the coyotes were harassing their young.
Oh.
So they took the coyote population down to 0.
Oh, wow.
But they like fish, they like deer, they like wild fruits like pawpaw fruit, they like sugar cane. I mean, things that wouldn't even think about eating, they eat. They like corn, obviously. They love fruits, love cornbread, you know. But it's just the
chocolate chip cookies. Oh dear Lord! But yeah, I do like chocolate chips because I don't like them.
M&M's sprinkled on top of cornbread.
Oh,
M&M's with peanut. Yeah.
Parmesan cheese. Nobody should ever go through this much Parmesan cheese in the history of the world.
They like, but you don't recommend gifting them, like feeding them that.
No, I mean, they take it out of my refrigerator. I go out in the morning and there's these big muddy giant, my refrigerator's black, and giant muddy handprints on it. And every damn time I go to get Parmesan cheese, it's gone.
Oh, wow.
Like, I can't. Janice Carter stayed with me for a while, and we would just laugh our asses off because every time, no matter how much Parmesan cheese we would buy, it was always gone. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
we used to leave our shed unlocked where our outdoor freezer is, and finally so much stuff went missing from it. And we're talking packages of deer meat mostly.
Wow. Yeah.
We have to lock that door every time we go in and out.
Wow.
And that's just a deterrent to say stay out of here.
Yeah.
You know, they can go right through that lock if they wanted to.
Sure.
Debbie,
just that thing.
Debbie, the genetics on the dogman, I know what I've been told. I'd rather withhold that at this time because we are doing the genetic study on the dogman for the Cryptid Genome Project. The preliminaries are back. We are working on genomes right now, and so that will be made public when it is done.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of, lately, it's just maddening, some false assertions that have kind of reared their ugly head, about that. So can you just speak a little bit on that, Robin? Because I know that you're very, and I support Dr.
I'm in it up to my head.
Yeah.
Well,
we all
I am.
Yeah. I mean,
I know, and I love you guys. We did the Sasquatch genome study, and the truth about all of that never actually got to come out because the hate was so severe. It was like you couldn't get a word in edgewise. So people have these preconceived notions of what they think it was all about. They don't even have a clue. Okay. I worked very closely with Melba. Number one, even before I knew her as a person, the Sasquatch had come to me and said to find her. She needed help. I don't know why, because I'm not a scientist, but that's how I met her. I was to help her because she got it right. And I did. And her findings matched pretty much what I had already known. I had already known for years. So now We're back with the cryptid genome study. We are working our little butts off on that. Obviously, I'm not doing science because I'm so not qualified for science. It will be sent out to different labs so that nobody can come back and say, oh, Melba did this, Melba did that. I'm so tired of hearing about that because they don't know her as a human being. They don't know what actually happened. They don't know the government's involvement in shutting the study down. We are back 10 years later. We have more followers and more people believing in us than we ever did before. We will continue to be out there doing what we're doing. We are waiting. There is a GoFundMe that if anybody wants to donate to the project, it's on my wall, it's on Melba's wall. It's called the Cryptid Genome Project. Anybody that does donate gets an NDA that has to be signed, and then you will get information first before it goes public, as well as some behind the scenes things from the first study that were never released, as well as things from this study that won't be released. So, that's the benefit of that. We are doing very well. We are going through samples right now, of which we have. We will work on any cryptid that we have samples from. So if anybody gets anything other than even the dogmen, we are doing some of the Sasquatch stuff as well. But we are not going to be off topic on any cryptid. This is going to encompass any cryptid we can get DNA on. Obviously, if nobody has samples, we can't test it. But it isn't going to encompass everything.
Wow, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Somebody had not on here, but had made a comment like, why not, what did he say? Why muddy the waters? Why are you going into all these cryptids? Just stick to Sasquatch.
There's more than
because
I'm sorry.
And
they're
people
out there.
And they're seeing them by the thousands now.
That's what I'm thinking.
These magic little telephones with these magic.
You guys, I have to step away for just a second because I've been sitting here drinking this soda the whole time.
All right.
I will be right back.
Okay. Okay. Jen, I'll ask you this. So I believe this is Carrie Ann. A large orange tabby cat with red eyes walked out of a portal and tried to attack the four of us. I sent it on its way, but it comes and goes. What do you think it is?
It's not a cat unless it's one of the cat people. It's coming to her as a cat because it's something recognizable that she can see and understand. But with the red eyes, that tells me instantly throw up the shields and back it back into that portal because it's not good. Anything that comes to me with red eyes, I'm instantly on the defense because I know that's just evil. That's just something real dark.
Demonic. She had asked if it was demonic.
Yeah, to me, that would represent something demonic. I know one night I was laying in bed and I raised up, awake, but yet almost in a trance state. And there was a being looking at me and it looked like a giant ant-man. That's the only way I can describe it. Looked very human. It had on armor that was very leather-like, that was a reddish brown, had a round head with big eyes, and he had wings. And I'm like, what the hell? And he just said, he looked at me, his eyes were blood red, and instantly I threw up shields of light and said, no, absolutely not. I speak to nothing with red eyes. And then they went soft blue. And he said, no, I'm not here to harm you. I said, you're here, you need to leave. But it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Next day, I was lucky enough to get a picture of it up in the trees behind my house. So it was still here. So they will try to appear to be nonviolent, but in reality, they are.
Okay. Vicky wants to know, Jennifer, do they like rub cake?
Yes, that one did, but they never got any more.
Yeah, that was a funny story. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Russell has another question. These are great questions, Russell. Thank you. Do you know if they wear clothes? They steal clothes off of clotheslines, and he wonders why if they do.
Robbie has seen them wearing clothes. I haven't. I have never seen them anything and then other than their hair. Now, I have seen some beings here come through a portal with clothes on, and they were like black leotard-like with lights. It looked like some kind of lights down the arms and down the legs. And instantly I knew that was for cloaking. And it looked like a cat-like being that I saw that on. But as far as the cryptids that are here, the sass and the dogmen, I've never seen anything but naked butts.
Okay.
Just fur, just hair.
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry,
welcome back. No, welcome back.
For Russell's question, that basically, they're as curious about us as we are about them. Okay. And they're watching us all the time. They don't understand the whole clothes business, but they say that we're wearing them. And a lot of them see that we're not in pain. We're not being harmed. We're not anything. And so I think a lot of them, it's a matter of, well, they're doing it. Let me try it. Let me find out what it's about. It's a curiosity. They used to steal bags of clothes out of my garage that my daughter-in-law had stored there. And they would take all these baby clothes. It was a riot. I'm thinking, your babies aren't going to fit in this. Trust me, my grandson was born at 5 pounds. You are not getting your, but they would take all the clothes. They were always taking the clothes. Do I see them a lot? No, I don't. I've seen one that would have a blanket over its shoulder, or, I've never seen one wearing pants and that kind of thing. No, but I've seen them where they've had animal skins on. They know the animal skins keep the animals warm. So they are automatically going to gravitate with that for their own protection during the cold weather. I think, people don't realize that these are a type of people. They're a highly evolved, intelligent people, and they have no problem whatsoever using the brains that God gave them to be able to take care of every need that they have, clothing is as well.
Okay. Debbie had I guess an observation, which is pretty interesting. Some Bigfoots look like cavemen, and she wonders if perhaps we've gone into a portal into their world. She said, crazy, I know. We don't ever say that. We all feel that. But there are so many different cryptids out there. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the giants are still around. They're not gone. And you have various different sizes of that. Some of them may look more cavemanish. It depends on the lineage that's behind them. And it depends on what's coming through the portals. There are timelines. There's been people that have been documented have gone back in time. Excuse me. So I don't rule any of that out. I don't think anybody's crazy ever.
Yes,
exactly. Every question needs to be looked at. Even if I don't know the answer, it doesn't mean it's not a good question.
Right.
But I think that everything has possibilities. I think what we're learning as time goes by, and this goes back into why all of a sudden doing all this genome project, these things are out there. People's blinders are being taken off. This stuff has been here the whole time. We have been programmed in our brain to believe that none of this exists. And the problem is when you program things, the programming eventually wears off. And people are seeing this stuff more and more and more. And people are asking more questions. And it's harder to keep people under control and programmed than it was before. And this is why the Genome Project's back. This is why people are seeing things coming out of portals. This is why some things might seem more like a caveman than others.
I went and got something. You remember back to the clothing thing. You remember the naked man running. The story about being terrified when he was naked. Well, the very next day, this right here was in the gifting bucket.
Oh my gosh!
And he thought it was when I received it, so it had already been dried out.
Whoa.
And I said, "Look, Bobby, she gave you a little something for coverage."
So cute.
So, literally,
That's
this
amazing.
was from Asia. And
wow.
The next time, this was in the gifting bucket, and it's just a clump of feathers, but they have been completely dried.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look, Sky said, this is all you need. Bobby did not find it amusing. But I kept those gifts just to show that they were dried out already when I got them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to my neighbors and steal clothes off of their lines, and they go and they grab their shoes and everything else, and then they bring them to me. Like, I'm not the tiniest of people anyway, but I don't wear a size 5X. Okay. Like, I could put my whole family in that. And I got up one day and they had stolen a brand new pair of Air Jordan tennis shoes off one of the neighbors' back porch that I don't know what the hell they were giving them to me for. So those were on my porch and a 5X pair of shorts.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I could put this on the bed as a covering for the bed. Like, I can't, what do you want me to do? And then I can't, what am I going to do? I can't take them back because these people are going to be like, you're stealing from me. Like, I feel bad. I don't want to take this.
I know where my Amazon boxes are going to.
Hey, we are all about the Amazon box. I'm just telling you.
Oh, man.
Hey, I had a question. I'm going to ask about with Grizzly. How many weeks ago did you hear that was it owls? No, birds. In the middle of the
that was no owls. I was 1:30 in the morning walking down the driveway, just humping along, and I went to open up the trash can, and it was a bird. It was two birds and one whistle, And then it was across I live on a dead end street in the middle of the woods. And I turned around and there was another bird behind the house whistling. It was even deeper. I was like, oh, hell no.
No, it's communication. They're letting them know that you were out.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
They're like, watch how fast Grizzly can run, too. And I hobbled my ass back in the house.
I used to get bullfrog noises when there was 3.5 feet of snow outside. I would go outside and there would be giant bullfrog noises. And I'm like, give me a break. You know, just forget it. Alert whoever you need to. There's no way I'm buying a bullfrog sitting out there in 3.5 feet of snow.
I get bullfrog noises, and you've heard them on my audio, Grizz. Like, that. Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's like, it just, like you said, out of no rhyme or reason, there shouldn't be a bullfrog. Wow, that's
2 days ago. I was standing on my front porch. I'm looking at my horse. He's in my front yard. I'm looking right behind my barn and at the creek. Well, the nearest cow is 1.5 miles down the road. And as I'm looking at the creek behind the barn, I hear a moo.
Oh, wow.
And I was busting out laughing. I said, give me a damn break. That is not a good cow.
That's great.
My horse thing raised up and was looking around. I was shaking my head and went back in the house. But it was just moo.
Now, if I would have heard the moo, I probably would have been laid out in the middle of the driveway.
But there was nothing there to see. He was just standing there afloat. And I was looking around, and he just decided to say hello. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
I have quite a humor.
Lady Wolf had wanted to know, Jen and Robin, why are we seeing more cryptids now than ever? Do you think it's due to cameras and internet now, or just us humans are headed for?
It's the energy. It's the energy. It's the vibration. The planet's more energetic now. The vibration is coming up on the planet. They're coming out. It's going to happen. People need to sit back, enjoy the ride, and learn, because we're all going to need to be educated on this stuff. Everybody, me included.
It's
everybody.
They're coming out. It's
everything. Yeah, you know, the ETs are releasing a lot of stuff, and they're done being silent, and that means good and bad ETs. They're not all bad. They really aren't.
Russell wants to is wondering, what do you think of medicine wheels, and does Sasquatch make them?
Personally, I don't. I don't do medicine
Native Americans.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Native American thing, but I don't do them because I don't know enough about them. However, I will say this: do I think it's possible for a Sasquatch to make them? Oh, absolutely. They've learned Native American ways.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that they did all of them. Absolutely not. No.
Okay. I think that might be. Yeah, we took the trash out, didn't we, Grizzly? Sorry about what was going on in the chat. We took care of that person.
Oh, absolutely did.
Yeah. Thanks,
you better
Grizzly.
believe it.
I'm sorry, you guys are probably getting bombarded with some people that are not overly pleasant.
No, it's that was just the one. Whatever. Hey, and we're all used to it, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
Troll.
I know. I hate to put people in a situation where their channel gets attacked, though, because
no. It's just it's happened before. It's the nature of the beast or whatever.
I think so.
We deal with the same group.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. For sure.
Oh my God. Lately, that's like I'm up.
So when I told them they couldn't talk about pareidolia.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they saw a whole lot of hate. Oh my God, we were swatting people like they were mosquitoes. It was ridiculous.
Right. Like, calm
down. And I keep going on there. I keep going on there and telling people, okay, if you are in a child type set of mind, this is a grown-up group. You can leave.
Yeah.
Go learn how to grow up, and then if you want to come back, you're still not coming back, but you can learn how to be a grown-up.
Right.
If you can't be nice in other people's sandboxes, then you cannot play.
Right. Because you can definitely have a friendship and an exchange with somebody, that you don't agree 100%, or maybe you just totally disagree, but you can act like adults about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and what I don't understand, and never will while I'm alive on this planet, is the phrase scroll on by. Like, there's nothing out there that says you have to speak or type.
Right.
If you don't agree, if you don't like it, go buy it. I mean,
you don't
what
have
is
to
wrong
put
with people?
Emoji on there, and you don't have to put your little comment. Well, I think you're crazy,
right?
And obviously, it's just pareidolia. Well, that an ass and an expert, and there's no experts in this field. And that was
No,
my
none.
thing, talking down to someone else.
Yes.
That's why I said they're going to have to stop.
So one last question, I guess, is why, and this is a rhetorical question for me, but ladies, would you explain why can't we get a clear picture usually of a cryptid?
Oh, that's the easiest question in the night.
Energy.
Jen, you want it or you want me to?
Take it. It's energy. Very simple.
Yeah, they radiate that frequency. Yep. They radiate the frequency, they radiate the energy, and that messes with the digital camera system, and that's why it blurs. The reason Patterson Gimlin was clear was it wasn't digital. Okay?
Yep,
We've made it easy for them because now that everything is digital, it screws it all up.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, we just,
So
exactly.
If you want a picture of them, go outside. I tell this to everybody all the time. Go outside, just take random pictures in the woods and blow it up. Because what happens is if they're cloaked and you've got a picture of it, they're so busy using their energy and vibration to cloak, it doesn't distort your camera. And they show up and they pop up and they're much clearer. Barb, you've seen my photos, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. I didn't know if you guys needed them for the show. I didn't know who to send them to if you needed them.
Well, you know what? I want to have we'll schedule you. I want to have you back on and because I'd like to hear and have you show your photos. I feel like I've gotten, and I think I have so many people like mentors and all of you, and all of you ladies, it just and gentlemen, and it's just great because somebody had told me just ask them if you want a picture of them, just ask them. Yeah. And so I've had success with that. I'm not saying they don't come up and they're like, hey, hi, it's me, but you can see them and it's like, wow.
Just say mean no harm. And as much as everybody likes to use the cameras and stuff, and they do get good pictures from cameras, I carry my cell phone everywhere I go. It's never out of my hand. And they just think it's another part of my arm.
Yeah,
they don't have any.
That's how I got so many good pictures on my cell phone.
Yep, they don't care one iota.
Yeah. I've said that too because they're used to me being outside and having it, So let's see. I guess do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, last one.
Yeah. All right. So why can Sasquatch walk in a straight line, hips and other issues?
Just the way they're built.
It is absolutely the way they're built, but I need to ask them that, don't I?
Okay.
I've never asked them that. I never thought about it, but yeah, when I watch them walk, I think the way it rotates, and my own opinion is the way that it rotates in their hip gives them the ability to do it. They have a very wide hip, and the sockets in it, like on a skeletal of it, the sockets on it are very, very wide, and I think it's just the range of motion they have in that hip socket. But I could be completely 100% wrong. I'm just saying that, from observation, that's what I would say.
That fact that they bring their feet, their calf, and the bottom part of their leg up so high.
Yes.
It changes it. It changes the rotation in that hip.
Yep.
And they walk totally different from us. We barely lift our legs at all walking.
Right.
We're jogging, and they do it consistently. That back part of that leg, that bottom part of that leg raises way high. And then they stretch out. Their toes are stretched out when they come down. They walk totally different than we do.
Yeah. Well, ladies, I just really want to thank you, Robin and Jen. Grizzly and I, right? We were just like, this was just fantastic. I had proposed it, and I asked him about it, and he thought, well, I don't know if we can get anybody to agree to this. And I'm like, well, I'm going to ask some people, and I was so thrilled when you said,
why not? Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'll be with you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is my first time on here, so I was excited about that. I love doing shows with Jen. So, and then Barb, I adore you. I think you're the sweetest thing ever. And I got to meet Grizzly the other day, and he was just as wonderful as can be. So it was not even a second hesitation for me.
Well, I really appreciate that.
Can you just tell me, like, really quick, like, what do you see as far as with my Sasquatch? Kevin Royce told me that we have a baby, that there's a new baby.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I got it was a little girl.
Okay.
But I don't know what Kevin did, but you've also got more than one new baby there. So I see two, and you've got one more on the way there. So you've got that. I think you've got a really good situation going, Barb. It just takes time to nurture it. Stay steady on the path you are. Don't change who you are. Just go with it. Make sure you set boundaries as you're going so that nothing gets out of control. And It's all done on a mutual respect. They will respect your boundaries as you're respecting theirs. They do like you very much. I think it's a positive situation. I'm not picking up anything negative at this time.
Awesome. Thank
So
you.
I see more interaction.
She had a juvenile sitting on her porch playing in her flower pot.
Yes. Yeah.
It was the cutest thing. And they pull up, the house light was on, and it was just like they're sitting in the flower pot, flower pots, just seeing what they were doing. So they feel extremely secure around Barb.
And there were prints. There were prints. I like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you
But
sent
Barb,
me. I see where
you have a beautiful
raise its
energy.
arm and put it back down and look toward the window. I'm like,
yes,
the baby was sitting right there, so they obviously trust you a lot.
Thank you. What were you saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Robin.
You have a beautiful warm energy, and they are so attracted to it. Like when they feel your energy, it's peace. That's what they feel is peace. They feel comfort. They feel the love, and that's why you're allowed to experience what you have, and that's why they're comfortable having children there.
Oh,
and that's why so many women have really good encounters and have developed relationships with clans of these creatures, of these beings. It's because of that warmth. We radiate that warmth, not so much like men are more like we're the big bad protectors.
Yeah, they're the protector, right? Take a different. They have to. Yeah,
women carry a different energy, so we're blessed in that for sure.
Definitely,
I think so.
All right.
That
Well,
makes sense.
thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat, thank you. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks again. We'll be in contact. Thanks so much. Love you both.
All right, take care.
Love you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.